Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Expat Woman Show. My name is Nyna Caputi. I'm the founder and CEO of the Expat Woman and the host of the Expat Woman Show. And today I'm really excited to bring my guest, who is Christine Job. She is head of Flourish in the Foreign. She was a speaker at the Expat Woman Summit in November 2023, and I'm excited to have her talk about building a consulting business abroad. This is a topic I've not had any guests talk about before. We usually talk about mindset and, navigating life abroad. But today we're talking about business and especially a consulting business. And I know Christine has had a lot of success with that. So without further ado, I'm going to have you, Christine, share your very impressive professional background and also your expat journey. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Hey everyone. I'll try to give you the short bio, but I just want to warn you all that I am a yapper. So please feel free to interrupt. So I'm Christine Job. I'm the host and creator of Flourish in the Foreign, which is an award-winning podcast that celebrates, elevates, and affirms the voices and stories of Black women across the diaspora who choose to live and thrive abroad while exploring living abroad as a pathway to wellness. Now, I am from the United States. I am half American and half Trinidadian. And I say that because it's really an important part of my journey of going abroad. I've been abroad now for 7 years, and I reside here in Spain for all 7 years, first in La Rioja, and then in Barcelona, and then now for 3 years in Valencia. I have been a business strategist for over 10 years. Although I'm a lawyer by education, I graduated from law school, and I started my journey in business and consulting while in law school. I actually was a legal fellow for our incubator accelerator, our entrepreneurial hub in law school. And then I continued doing that after I graduated. And so I really have had a passion for entrepreneurship for many, many years. And it's been something that has just been more than a passion, but like a deep interest, specifically when it comes to women and women of color. Because even back when I was in law school, I recognized that the students and the participants that would come in for counsel, had very different approaches. Like the guys would come in and they'd be like, "Oh, Christine, I had a dream last night." And I was like, "Okay, let's talk about making it into a business." And the women would come in and they would be like, they'd have these thick binders and they'd be like, "I don't know, should I start a business?" And I'm like, "I'm not going to open the binder." The answer is yes. Like you're clearly prepared. And so that experience and my vast experience these 10 years have really formed and shaped my current passion, which is helping Black women, women of color, really leverage their skills and their talents into viable and sustainable consulting businesses. These are businesses that make them professionally fulfilled, while also financially abundant, which is very important, so that they can pursue location independent lives. And I think this is really important because I have found that my social and professional circle is filled with brilliant senior level professional women who are competent and confident in their abilities to serve others, to be an employee. But when it comes to betting on themselves, they have no self-confidence whatsoever. They're like, "I know I can't do this." And it's a shame because as women, we know when women are economically empowered, our entire communities change, right? And so what I love about entrepreneurship is that you can be as economically enriched as you'd like, but I think it's a really important way for women to consider building their own assets. And so I believe that building a consulting business is an amazing stepway, on an entryway into entrepreneurship. I don't recommend people to go from Oh, okay, I was an accountant. Let me open up an ice cream shop or something like that. Like, no, like we can stair step our way into entrepreneurship, into mini ventures by just taking the knowledge, the expertise, the talents, the points of view that you have, and bundling that and making it into a consulting business that can really be, as I said before, financially abundant for you and your family, but also professionally fulfilling.
Beautiful. And I can just see your passion, as you're speaking about, inspiring women. And I'm sure you've helped many women achieve this dream of starting their own business, starting with a consulting business. And I haven't heard this take before about how the consulting business can be your pathway to entrepreneurship. So I love that. I do have a question about your expat journey as well. I did get kicked off for a second on the live, so I'm not sure if you shared it because I know you mentioned your American and part American, part from Trinidad. Your family is. I'm assuming you were born in the U.S., but I know you live in Spain now. So I'm just curious also because I think it goes hand in hand, right? Your business and then where you are in the world. How did that happen? Like, what happened first? Did you become an expat first, or did you become a business strategist and start the flourish in the foreign? Just love to hear that pathway as well.
Yeah, because I skimmed over it, and I actually think it's a really vital and important part of my story. So, when I graduated from law school, I was in Miami and I joined a startup. And from that startup, I actually had the amazing opportunity to work with them and go on business trade mission to Namibia and South Africa, which was really instrumental in me wanting to go abroad and to work abroad. After that experience, I returned to my hometown of Atlanta, and I was a business strategist and I was bootstrapping and trying to make it happen. And I really burned out because I was still, I think I was so afraid of really putting myself out there and really working in a way that made sense for me. Because you have to remember, I came from a legal background where people work 70 to 90 hours a week. And so I was still feeling like I've gone my own way. I still need to prove myself. I need to work as hard as all my peers and things like that. And I burned myself out, which led me to take a sabbatical to Spain. And so I moved here in 2017, thinking I'll be here a year. And I've been here for 7 years. And what happened from that is that I got an opportunity to really reassess what success meant for me. I recognized moving to Spain wasn't the cure all for everything that was ailing me. I realized that I was living in La Rioja, so amazing wine region, and I still was feeling so unfulfilled and so filled with anxiety. And it took a time for me to recognize, I've decided to go this own way in my life. I decided to leave my home country. I have to define success for myself. So, long story short, I've lived in Spain and I worked remotely for a bit. And then I came back into working for myself in 2020. And actually, simultaneously almost with launching my podcast. And what I recognize, I think what has made this iteration of the endeavor more successful is that I have centered my business on wellness. I've centered this approach on really kind of that individualized wellness and philosophy and success, which is why I call my system soft life, soft business. Because what I recognize is what didn't work in the US was that I was trying to be something that I wasn't. I'm still an excellent business strategist. I still have a keen mind, legal eagle, all these great things. But now I get to work in a manner that is sustainable for me and also feels good. And that's one of the amazing, I think, benefits of working for yourself and creating a consulting practice is that you get to live in Spain if you want, you get to decide the clients that you want, you get to decide the cycle of work that you have. And for me, that has made all of the difference.
Fantastic. And you're not the first person who's told me that they've gone to a country just either because they're feeling burnt out or just want to break from the US and then landed up staying. So I just love that. I think in some ways, maybe that wasn't your strategy, but maybe that could be a strategy for people trying to, find this new life or get away from the country they currently live in. Because I think when you move to a new country, it also it sparks something in you because you're stepping out of your comfort zone, and you went to a country where English is not the first language. So you're all, I don't know if you already spoke Spanish, but you're forced to, even if you speak it, I think in a country it's different, right? Like I grew up speaking English, but in the US, the English, the accents are different, right? The way you guys express yourself. So it's still, you still have to learn some stuff. I just wanted to acknowledge Nelly, who's joining us from Kenya. I don't know if you know her, Christine, Nelly.
I don't think so, but hi, Nelly.
Yeah.
Nice for you to join us.
Yeah,
Appreciate
that's very
you.
sweet. Yeah. And Nelly, if you have any questions or you want to add anything, I can't bring you up on the platform, but you can let us know in the comments. And anyone else joining us, let us know where you're calling in from. And if you have any questions or comments, just share it in whatever platform you're watching, and we can, Christine could address it. Uh, so Christine, in terms of the consulting, and first of all, actually, before that, I want to congratulate you on your podcast. On having this award-winning podcast, and you just started it in 2020. So before we go into the consulting business, what did you do?
Oh no, Nina, you have frozen. So I'm gonna wait for you to come back into the chat. But I'm gonna answer what I suspect your question is, which is, I started Flourish the Foreign in 2020. What was the inspiration for creating it? But also, how have I been able to be sustainable in it? And how have I utilized it in positioning myself for the opportunities that I've had, but also like as a vehicle for my business, which I'm assuming that's what the question is. For those of you that don't know, my podcast is called Flourish in the Foreign. It's a podcast that I created in 2020 and launched in the midst of the global pandemic and things like that. And I created the podcast not just because it was a pandemic project, okay? It was helpful though. But I created it because I had the amazing fortune of living abroad and traveling abroad. But for me, I didn't see a lot of stories being portrayed in mainstream media about Black women living abroad. I think, like most of you probably know, that when people are talking about like expats or like living abroad, it's very whitewashed. It's like it's a very that kind of thing. And so I wanted to create a podcast that showcased the amazing women, not just Black Americans, but Black women all around the world who are choosing to leave their home country, because that is a huge decision to make, to take yourself outside of your cultural context, like the thing that kind of makes sense for you, and to go abroad and to do it and to examine it in the context of wellness. And for me, I always tell people wellness is not just bath bombs and I don't know, like crystals, but it really is like financial wellness, emotional, mental, like physical wellness and security. And so I created it because I wanted to share these stories and amplify it. And what has been really amazing about it is that I don't have the background in audio. I had to teach myself how to do it. And so that's one thing. It's like very humbling, you have to have a beginner's mind and stay humble. But through that process, I've taught myself some new skills, which is incredible. I'm a solo indie. I don't have anyone else working on my podcast, but I've been able to expand my network in such profound but substantive ways. So I know all these amazing women all around the world. And I feel like I probably know them better than they know me because I've listened to their episodes over and over again. So I'm like, oh, I know you. And they're like, no, girl, we had one conversation that one time. But it's been a really amazing opportunity for me because my network has expanded and it's so rich, which has created so many personal opportunities, but actually professional opportunities. And it's been an amazing lead gen for my consulting business, which I never thought it was going to be. I thought it was very separate. And for a long time on the podcast, I didn't even mention I was a business strategist. And when I started to mention it, I started getting clients. So it's been a really interesting endeavor for me. It's personally very fulfilling, which I feel grateful, especially in this world where I feel there's so many people who are doing work that they just don't like to do and they don't feel fulfilled. So I feel really honored to showcase these women's stories, but I also feel very blessed professionally because I have amazing network and amazing clients and amazing referrals, truly.
Wonderful. And I'm sorry, it looks like I keep getting kicked off because I suddenly, so thank you for continuing the conversation despite me appearing and disappearing. But congratulations. And I love the reason why you started, and I love that it's a funnel into your business because, again, I think some of us, I think not some, many women, we find it hard to, we share a value and inspiration, but we won't really market and sell our services. And I think we're actually really doing a disservice to people who can benefit from what we have to share and what we have to provide our target audience with. So I'm really glad you brought that up because I don't think there's any harm in that. And Nelly just said she's French and she used to work as a tax inspector, and now she's relocated to Kenya, where she creates two brands empowering Kenyan artisans. And Nelly, feel free to share the links in the comments. We'd love to learn more. So, Christine, let's talk about consulting business. So, let's start with the definition of consulting. Because for some people, like, what is consulting? Maybe there are expat women watching this right now. Like, what is consulting business? What does it entail? Who can start it? And then we can go into why, I think your focus is senior professionals,
Mhm.
using their skills to start a consulting business, but also for anyone who wants to start a consulting business abroad, what are some of the steps? I'm just asking all these questions in case I get kicked off so you can continue the conversation.
No, yeah. So consulting is advising. It's when people know that you're really great at something and they want to pick your brain. That is a consultation, right? At the simplest form is to get the advice of someone who is an expert, who knows something more, who has a different perspective. That is really in essence what it is. It can be so much more. It can involve developing strategy. It can involve helping to create teams. And in some consultants, they do have some do for you services, right? So they won't just tell you what to do, but they may also have an aspect in which they will do certain things for you on a project by project basis. That's in a nutshell what consulting is. Now, consulting is something that I think a lot of women don't necessarily think of because I feel that most women's expertise is wildly undervalued and undermined. A lot of women within their professional job titles, they do way more and they don't recognize that not only are they doing work outside of their scope of work, but sometimes people keep on asking them very specific things like, can you do this one thing over and over and over again? Because not only do you have the expertise, but people like the way you deliver it, they like the way you handle it. These are things that can be packaged and created into a consulting business, right? So, and I work with senior level professionals because I feel like it's a most natural step. Now, can people who are more junior go into consulting? Sure, but people who are senior level professionals, not only do you probably have the education, but you have the expertise, you have, the sweat equity, you've done the work and you've done it across various situations and you've tested your mettle. And I think most importantly is that you've built a network that respects you, that knows that you can do the work, that can then be leveraged into your business, that can be leveraged into potential clients or testimonials or focus groups or just people who can be cheerleaders for your business. That's why I specifically work with senior level professionals because really getting from A to B is way simpler than any other type of kind of configuration. Now, I've cut my teeth as a business strategist way back 10 years ago, helping people develop startups and do all different types of things. I've helped people do and create lots of different businesses, and I've landed on this particular niche. One, because it just seems like the thing that has come to me easiest in the past couple of years. But I like to be a woman of my word. I'm a woman that really does cherish wellness, and I like to have a soft life and a soft business. I like the work that I do, but I'm trying to do it in the way that feels that is most easeful and that can be most effective. So that is why I have that niche. I'm not sure if I answered all your questions. What else did you ask me?
You did actually did, and it's really interesting, and now because when I was putting these questions together, and I knew that one of your key takeaways was senior professionals starting consulting businesses. Now I know why, because that was my question: why senior professionals? Because you're right, it takes a while to hone your expertise, to understand what your expertise is, to really find your zone of genius, right? Because it took me many years to figure out what I was really good at, because I started my education in one field, and through many challenges, through many careers, I finally discovered what I want and who I want in my network. So you answered that beautifully. Saskia Rock, who's joining us, said imposter syndrome is my hang up, and I think that's the issue with many women, right? We know. So you did answer my question. We'll address Saskia's imposter syndrome thing, because I think that's what's stopping a lot of people from, as you said, sharing their genius or becoming consultants. My questions, and you answered my previous question. My question is, how can women find their niche so that they can start becoming consultants in that field, and then how can they leverage their current network, right? Especially when you live abroad, it's a little harder because you're starting with zero network if you're doing consulting and that. So how can you be like a global consultant? So would love if you could address both those questions, and also maybe address Saskia's question as well, or comment.
Okay. Okay. So first thing is that so how do you find your niche? Which I love this because I'm actually launching a free training about this called From Marketable Skill to Consulting Business. And maybe I'll drop the link later on. Um, so this is the thing to create, to find your niche and to basically create the foundation of your business. I believe there's three important components. One is marketable skills. So what I always tell people is it's very important for you to write a very extensive list. Go through your CV, write down every job that you've had and the job description, and think about the things that are outside of the scope of your work that you did and the things that people kept on asking you to do. I always make a very silly analogy or example where I say, you might have been an amazing accountant, but perhaps everyone kept on asking you to um, put together the company holiday party because you get the best food, you get the best entertainment, and you're always within budget. Like that would be something to keep note of. Are you going to necessarily convert that into a consulting business? Maybe, maybe not. But those are types of things that as women, we quite frankly often we disregard those things like well no, I'm like write down an extensive list of basically why you are like an amazing person, right? This is your chance to write down, oh, I can do all of these amazing things. So that's the first thing is to write down those marketable skills, all of these things that you do and you do well, right? The thing that you'd want to do with that marketable skills is then say to yourself, highlight, X out the things that you actually like doing. Because for a lot of us, we are competent in so many things. People can ask us to do so many things, but we don't necessarily want to do it. Okay. And so my philosophy is always like, let's build a business that is not only like viable so it makes money, but sustainable in that it can continue making money because you like doing it, right? So that'd be the second step is, okay, what are the things that I like to do, I'm interested in doing? So let me put that to the side. The second component of finding out that niche and the foundation of your business would be understanding what your number is. And that is finances, right? So I always tell people to start off with two numbers, a number right now that you would need to make to maybe whatever your number is, that maybe your current salary is to make your life go round. And then the second number would be your ideal number for your ideal lifestyle. But this is the thing with your current number, the number that maybe is the equivalent to your current salary, you know why you have to make whatever it is, like X dollars, because you're like, I have this bill, that bill, that bill, that bill. perfect, because that's motivation, that's emotion, that's supercharged in it. What the problem becomes is with the ideal number, a lot of people say very vague things. Like, I hate when people are like, I want a six-figure business. You're like, what does that mean? That's $100,000? That's $999,000. Like, what are we talking about, right? You need to be specific. And so, because if it's specific, then it becomes real, and then you start taking yourself seriously. So that ideal number, I want you to come up with something that is based in that ideal, that lifestyle. You'll be able to do what? You'll be able to go where? You'll be able to invest what? That is what I recommend. Why do I recommend having your number? One, because systemically, women are undervalued. And so you need to be confident in your number. So if someone tries to lowball you, you won't fall for it, like a lot of women who are entering into entrepreneurship. It's like, well, I just need a client. No, you need your bills paid. And when you have a number and a solid one, you're not wavering because you're like, I have to have my bills paid. The other reason is that that number, either your current number or your ideal number, is going to dictate pricing for you, right? A lot of people don't think that. They're like, well, whatever the market is. Of course, we do market research, we do competitive analysis, but we're going to base our numbers on our pricing on our numbers. Okay. And that works well with our marketable skill, because if we have a certain ideal number, that helps us to gauge which marketable skill is going to actually help us reach that number, and vice versa, right? The third thing, and it's kind of like a triangle, a triangular foundation, we'll say, is to understand not only your motivation, but like the why behind creating this venture. And I say that because a lot of times people want not only to be professionally fulfilled, but they don't want to work in a toxic environment. They don't want to work 90 hours a week. That's really important because these three things work together. So if I don't want to have this type of client that I find in this industry, cool. So that might dictate our marketable skill. And that might also dictate our number. If we have a certain number, then that might dictate the type of clients we take on, perhaps, or even the cycle of work that we have. All three of these things work together. And that's how you distinguish a niche. A lot of people will think, well, perhaps you're an accountant and you're like, well, I just want to get work anywhere. You don't, because it's different. When you have a bad client and you're an employee, it's a horrible experience. When you're the only one and you have a bad client, it is a 10,000 times worse experience. Is an experience that helps everyone? Yes, it's kind of a canon event. Everyone has that one client where you realize not all money is good money. And so that niching down is really important. It helps you to also get out of the emotion. And to Nellie's point, or I think Saskia's point about imposter syndrome, if you do this process, you will start recognizing that the imposter syndrome is really the emotions of, I don't believe in myself and I don't think I'm capable, right? That's the emotions. And it's because I don't trust myself. I trust myself to get things done for other people. If my boss tells me to do it, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to be ready for the meeting. But I don't trust that I can do it for myself. I don't trust people are going to take me seriously. But if you go through my process, what you're going to recognize is that that becomes less and less important, because now you have facts, right? I have these skills. I'm good at it. People have told me so. And I know that I'm good at it. Okay, I have a number. These are facts. These are bills. These are things I want to do. There's nothing really to negotiate about that. And then I have how I want to work. I have kids. I want to be home at this time. I want to retire at this period of time. I want to live here. I want to live there. These are things that help to make it clear for you about this business and how you approach it. Now, when it comes to overcoming imposter syndrome, the only other thing to do is action. Entrepreneurship is not an intellectual exercise at all. It is a get in the game kind of situation. But I would love to challenge you in this way. First, I would love for you to consider, entrepreneurship as a form of self-actualization, because you have these thoughts and these dreams of a business or a lifestyle for yourself or for your family. And entrepreneurship can be the way for you to take it from the ethereal into the physical realm. So by not betting on yourself, you are saying that your hopes, your dreams, your thoughts mean nothing. They don't even warrant a try. And so it behooves you to bet on yourself to see how you may evolve as a person. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I think that it's important, especially when it comes to imposter syndrome, to consider that it's not actually about you. And I know that's crazy because we're talking about business. Business is supposed to be ego, 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 me, me. But you don't have to do business that way. That's not how I do business. That's not how my clients are. My clients are purpose driven women who make money. They're not nonprofits, they make money. Okay. Um, and so, but the difference for them, and I hope this is helpful for you, Saskia, is that they shifted their mindset about what are people going to think about me? Are people going to take me seriously? They shifted it to I can be of service to people. I can help to change people's lives by showing up. And sometimes it doesn't have to do with, being a mad scientist and solving cancer and all this. It can be small things like being a great accountant. That helps people. That's a service, right? And so when we switch it, I think that actually helps a lot of women get over the hump. Someone is waiting for you. They're waiting for you in particular because you have the background, the experience, you have the personality, you have the sensibility that they've been looking for. They've been looking for your skills with your touch. And I know some people think like, no, that's not possible, but you will be very surprised. When I launched my podcast 4 years ago, I thought only my mom was going to listen to the podcast. Okay. So I was like, okay, my mom, I'll have like 10 downloads and it'll be all of my mom. And what was so incredible was that I had no background in podcasting, no real background in like podcasting PR, is that the podcast found the people that was meant to find, even when it was very small. And I remember getting a message with someone saying, thank you so much. This has changed everything for me. I am not like I don't know, a boastful person. Like it made me break down in tears. I was shaking. I was like, this is crazy. And from that moment on, I've had subsequent people saying, you've changed my life, you changed my life, you changed my life, which is crazy. It's very uncomfortable for me to say, but I say that to you because it's not really about you. Like it's not really about me, because I showed up and I didn't think I was perfect. I didn't know what I was doing with the audio and I didn't know this and it sounded weird and da da da. But because I showed up, I was able to be of service to people. People were able to take something that I had created and to improve their lives, not only with the podcast, but also with my business strategy. This summer, I just put on my summer intensive, which was 8 weeks of standing up a consulting business. My cohort was fantastic. We had struggles, we pivoted, we had all these things. I was so nervous for them, like I want them to win. And I remember our last call, everyone was so excited and they were, I mean, incredible. They had consulting businesses. And one of my clients, she said, oh, I want to tell you, yeah, I have a new client and they're signed for the entire school year. And I was just like, like tears streaming down my face. That changes people's lives, right? Perhaps they can quit their job now, or maybe they won't, and they'll continue building their business. But by me showing up, I've been able to help people see themselves, and they've been able to use what I have to then take that on for themselves. So, Saskia, I hope that you hear this and I hope this resonates with you. It's not really about you, it's about you showing up and being of service. And what's amazing is that through entrepreneurship, you're able to do that and you can do good and do well for yourself. This is not like bro entrepreneurship, which I hate. They're like, don't sleep, don't eat. Blah, blah, blah. Like, no, no. We're women. We can do a lot of things at the same time. Okay. We can do a lot of things. We're totally capable. But you can do things that feel good, that are professionally fulfilling, that make you feel great and financially abundant. Like I totally, totally believe that. I don't know if I answered the rest of your questions, but I think I got two of them. I don't know if I got all of them.
You did. I was just her name's not here. Her name is Barbara. for some reason it says LinkedIn user. So I went to LinkedIn. She said, I agree with Christine. It's about what you expect from the life business so that aligns with you and your values. And I think that's so important. And I think, as you said, if you do what lights you up, that you're passionate about, that you're excited about, and you focus on the value that you are bringing instead of, how do I look, how do I sound, will I look, I got kicked off on this thing 2 times today, and I know that's my fear right now, is like, what will happen if I get kicked off because of some silly internet problem, right? But the show must go on, and I bring on guests that can add value. So I think whatever we do, if we can focus on how is it going to help the people who are interacting with us or learning from us, that takes away some of that. And Saskia said, yeah, she shared some stuff here. We're almost at the end of time, and I think I have to bring you back, Christine, because you have so much to share. And I think 30 minutes is not enough. But I think just, out of respect for your time and our guests, and I will definitely have you again if you're willing to. And it sounds like you have a lot of amazing, interesting programs and ways people can work with you. Because I think we just scratched the surface today with the interview with you. So if you mind sharing how people can find you, what are some of your offers, how they can connect with you, if they have any questions, can they share them in the comments of either Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube? It's streaming on all three platforms.
Yeah. So please reach out. I am a very accessible person. I try to be. Sometimes I don't check a mailbox here and there, but please reach out. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn. Feel free to message me. You can check out my website at Christine Job, ChristineJob.com. I actually am having another one of my Soft Life, Soft Business masterminds. I'm launching a full and complete program. I did the intensive this summer and it was a great success. So I'll be launching that soon. I will put my free training in the comments. I thought I had it up in my tabs and I don't. So I apologize for being unprepared. But I will put it in the comments. So please do that video training. And in that video training, I say many times, I'm like, please pause the video and do what I ask you to do because it's important, right? And it's free information and it really does change things. So please do that. If you want to work with me, I do have my Soft Life, Soft Business mastermind. I also have a season of my podcast that's all about building a business abroad. It's season 3. You can find Flourish in the Foreign across all major platforms. So definitely take a listen to the podcast, other episodes if you'd like. And you can always shoot me an email, pretty accessible there at hello@flourishintheforeign.com.
Thank you, Christine. And I'll have you also share the links in all three platforms in the comments. You don't have to do it now when we're done with the show. Going to end with one implementable tip you want to share with anyone looking to start a consulting business abroad. Like one quick tip that they can maybe do today or in the next week or month or year.
Okay, besides doing my video training, which I think would help, right? Something that you could do today is to go through your network, the people that you enjoy working with, the people that you have good rapport with. Make a list of these people. And this is why I'm telling you, because I'm a connector. Like I'm a person that enjoys connecting people. And I did this experiment in July. I was looking at all these people that I was connected with, and I was like, who do I like? And I even did people I didn't even know. And I just put out a call to them. I emailed them or I messaged them on LinkedIn and I said, hey, um, this is what I'm doing. And I would love to meet with you and I'd love to chat with you. And I'd love to support what you're doing. And some people said yes, some people said no. The reason why I'm telling you to do that is that for a lot of you, you're going to be so afraid of being seen. This is a good way to shock yourself and get out there. You know why? Because the worst thing is someone is weird to you or they say no. I only had like 2 people be weird to me. Did it affect me? Of course, I'm a human being. I was like, okay, but I got over it. Okay, I got over it. You know why I got over it? Because the people that responded to me are the people that are in resonance with me. And they were like, sure, cool, let's talk for 30 minutes. And let me tell you, the business that I have gotten from just putting myself out there. And it wasn't a business call. It wasn't a sales call. It wasn't anything. It was, I want to get to know you. This is what I'm doing. And I got to know these people and they got to know me. They passed me business. I've been invited to speak in conferences for next year. I just made amazing new business friends and just other opportunities. And I say that because as an entrepreneur, and especially as a woman, our superpower is collaboration. That's our thing. We're great at nurturing community. So if you want something to do right now, is to nurture your community, because when you're ready to launch, you will have people who are so excited for you. You will have people who say, of course, you're amazing, or so and so needs this and you need that, and da da da. You will have people already for you. And you will also get to like pull off the band-aid of being like exposed. Who cares? Who cares? So if you really are serious about betting on yourself, being of service to other people, because that's what it's a service kind of email where how can I help you? Like, how can I be in community with you? Do that. If you do that, now I did it, you don't have to be like me. I sent over like 120, 130 messages.
In how many
But
days?
that's,
How many weeks or
huh?
weeks? Yeah, how long did it take you to send those messages?
Well, I'm a crazy person, so it took me 2 days, and I've been having meetings since July. So they'll probably stretch into November. I'm also a bit of like an analytics person, so I was like, I need a bigger sample size. I need at least 100. I need, you know what I mean? So that's me. You don't have to do that, but if you do it, you will be able to say, "Wow, I can do it. Like nothing bad happened to me." Two, you might meet your next client. Three, you might actually cultivate a community that is ready for you, ready to support you when you launch. So when you say, "Oh, am I going to go on IG? Am I going to do this? How do I get people out there?" No, you're just going to ask your community to support you. That's what I would tell you to do. And I know it sounds like scary, but trust me, once if you can get over it, everything that you've been waiting for, everything that you're wanting, the type of community, the type of money, the type of work, the type of lifestyle is on the other side of that self-imposed fear.
That's fantastic. That is a fabulous tip. And I so agree. Put yourself out there and the opportunities will come. And the worst is they'll either say no or they'll ignore you, right? And then you just move on. So that is a fantastic tip. Thank you so much, Christine, for being on the show. Thank you, everyone, for watching us live or watching the replay. And Christine will share all those links, amazing links that she spoke about in the comments. Have a wonderful rest of the day or evening. Bye, everyone.